Rasheeda Frost and Kirk Frost, the couple that once stood strong despite endless scandals, are now at the center of a storm that no one saw coming. Fans are in complete shock as whispers of their marriage falling apart have turned into a full-blown explosion of drama. But this time, it's not just another reality TV stunt. This time, it's personal. Late last night, an insider leaked shocking details about a secret affair that Kirk had been desperately trying to keep hidden. And when Rasheeda found out, let's just say, emotions ran high, accusations were thrown, and their entire marriage was left hanging by a thread. The betrayal cut deep, and now sources claim that Rasheeda is done playing the loyal wife. She's finally exposing Kirk for who he truly is. But here's where things take a dramatic turn. Rasheeda isn't just walking away, she's coming for everything. From cryptic social media posts to behind-the-scenes arguments that were caught on camera, the truth is spilling out faster than anyone expected. And with rumors of divorce papers already in motion, fans are left wondering, is this really the end for Rasheeda and Kirk? Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear will leave you speechless. Rasheeda sat in silence, staring at her phone, her hands trembling as she scrolled through the messages that had just been sent to her. The words on the screen blurred as the reality of the situation hit her like a ton of bricks. Kirk had done it again, but this time it wasn't just rumors. This time there was proof, undeniable, gut-wrenching proof that he had betrayed her in the worst possible way. The messages weren't just flirty texts or suggestive emojis. No, this was a full-blown affair that had been going on behind her back for months. Pictures, voice notes, secret meetups. It was all there, laid out in a way that left no room for doubt. And the worst part, the woman he had been sneaking around with wasn't some random groupie. She was someone Rasheeda knew, someone she had trusted. Her heart pounded in her chest as she clutched the phone tighter, her mind racing through every interaction, every moment that suddenly made sense. The late-night calls, the unexplained absences, the dismissive attitude whenever she questioned him. How had she been so blind? How had she let him fool her yet again? A wave of nausea hit her, and she felt like she might be sick. This wasn't just another scandal. This wasn't just Kirk being Kirk. This was betrayal on a whole new level. And for the first time in years, Rasheeda wasn't sure if she could come back from this. Tears burned in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She had cried enough over this man. She had forgiven enough. And now she was done. With shaking hands, she pressed the call button. The phone rang twice before the familiar voice answered. "Rasheeda, what's up?" Her voice was calm, but there was an unmistakable edge to it. "We need to talk." Now, there was a pause on the other end, a hesitation that made her blood boil. "I'm kind of busy right now. Can we?" "No, Kirk." She cut him off, her voice sharp and unwavering. "This can't wait." Another pause, then a sigh. "All right, I'll be home in 20. She hung up without another word, her hands clenched into fists. 20 minutes. That was all the time she had to prepare herself for the fight that was about to come. Her mind raced with everything she wanted to say, every ounce of rage and pain bubbling up inside her. This time, there would be no sugarcoating, no sweeping things under the rug. Kirk was going to face the truth, and he was going to face the consequences. As the minutes ticked by, she paced the living room, replaying every lie, every excuse he had fed her over the years. And now, it was all coming to a head. Finally, the front door opened, and Kirk stepped inside, his expression unreadable. He took one look at Rasheeda and knew he was in trouble. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice guarded. Rasheeda didn't waste time. She held up the phone, her eyes locked onto his. "You tell me." Kirk's face barely changed, but she saw the flicker of something in his eyes. Guilt, fear, maybe even regret. But none of it mattered anymore. "Who is she, Kirk?" Rasheeda's voice was steady, but the anger underneath was undeniable. Kirk ran a hand over his face, exhaling heavily. "Rasheeda, I don't know what you think you." "Don't," she snapped, her voice rising. "Don't lie to me. Not this time. I have the messages, the pictures, everything. So don't stand there and insult my intelligence. Silence filled the room, thick and suffocating. Kirk looked away, his jaw tightening. "It's not what you think," he muttered. Rasheeda let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, really? Because what I think is that my husband has been creeping around with someone I know, someone I trusted. What I think is that you've been lying to me for months. So please enlighten me, Kirk. What exactly am I misunderstanding here?" Kirk opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time, he had nothing to say. And that was all Rasheeda needed to hear. A cold realization settled over her. This was it. This was the moment she had been avoiding for so long. Her voice was eerily calm when she spoke again. "We're done, Kirk." His head snapped up, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Rasheeda, come on. Don't do this." But she shook her head. "No, you did this. You made this choice when you decided that our marriage wasn't worth respecting. And now you're gonna have to live with the consequences." She turned away, walking toward the staircase, her hands shaking but her resolve strong. But just as she reached the first step, Kirk's voice stopped her. "There's something you don't know," he said quietly. She froze. Her heart pounded. Slowly, she turned back around. "What?" Kirk hesitated, his expression conflicted, and then he said something that changed everything. Rasheeda stood frozen at the bottom of the staircase, her heart pounding in her chest as Kirk's words hung in the air. "There's something you don't know." Her breath caught in her throat. What could he possibly say now? What excuse could justify what he had done? She turned around slowly, her eyes narrowing. "What are you talking about, Kirk?" He exhaled heavily, rubbing a hand over his face, his entire body tense. It's complicated," he muttered. Rasheeda let out a bitter laugh. "Complicated? You cheated on me, Kirk? You lied to my face over and over again. What exactly is complicated about that?" Kirk shifted uncomfortably, his jaw tightening. "Look, I never wanted you to find out like this. I was trying to handle things before it got out of control." That set Rasheeda off. "Handle things?" she repeated, her voice rising. "Handle things? Kirk, do you even hear yourself? You weren't handling anything. You were out here living a double life while I was at home thinking we were still trying to fix our marriage." She could feel the heat rising in her cheeks, the anger bubbling over. She had spent years putting up with Kirk's nonsense, giving him the benefit of the doubt, believing he'd always find a way to ruin everything. "And I understand that this right here, this is the end." Kirk's face twisted. "Rasheeda, please." But she was already shaking her head. "No, I'm done, Kirk. For real this time." She turned on her heel, storming toward the door. Kirk followed her. "Where are you going?" Rasheeda didn't even look back. "To tell the world exactly who you are." And with that, she grabbed her phone and hit record. The sound of the door slamming echoed through the house, but it didn't bring Rasheeda the relief she had hoped for. Instead, an eerie silence settled in, pressing down on her like a weight she couldn't shake. Her entire body felt numb, her heart still pounding from the confrontation. She had finally done it. She had told Kirk to leave. But why did it feel like she was the one who had been shattered into pieces? She stumbled toward the couch and collapsed onto it, burying her face in her hands. Everything was sinking in now. The betrayal, the lies, the humiliation. She had spent years fighting for this marriage, standing by Kirk through all of his scandals, forgiving him when no one else would. And for what? To be disrespected all over again? To find out that, after everything, he had still chosen to betray her. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She had already cried too much over Kirk Frost. She had already wasted too much energy trying to fix something that was never meant to last. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table, breaking her thoughts. She hesitated before picking it up. The screen lit up with a message from an unknown number. "I think we need to talk. It's about Kirk." Rasheeda's breath caught in her throat. Who was this? Was it the woman he had been cheating with? Was it some random person trying to stir up more drama? Her fingers trembled as she typed out a response. "Who is this?" Within seconds, another message popped up. "Meet me at Cafe Royale in an hour. I think you deserve to know the whole truth." Rasheeda hesitated. Every instinct told her not to get involved in more drama. She had already heard enough. She didn't need any more pain, but something about the message felt urgent, almost like a warning. And if there was more to this story, if there was something Kirk hadn't told her, she needed to know. Taking a deep breath, she grabbed her keys and headed out the door. The cafe was dimly lit, the scent of coffee and vanilla filling the air. Rasheeda scanned the room, searching for the person who had sent the text. Her heart pounded as her eyes landed on a woman sitting in the back corner, nervously stirring her drink. She looked young, mid-20s maybe, dressed in a fitted dress and oversized sunglasses, as if she were trying to hide her face. Rasheeda approached cautiously. "Are you the one who texted me?" The woman looked up, her expression unreadable. Slowly, she removed her sunglasses, revealing tired, puffy eyes. "Yes," she said, her voice quiet. "I'm Jasmine." Rasheeda felt like she had been punched in the gut. Jasmine. The name alone sent a surge of anger through her veins. Jasmine had been the woman Kirk cheated with years ago, the one he had a whole baby with, the one who had caused one of the biggest scandals in their marriage. What was she doing here now? Rasheeda crossed her arms. "Why are you texting me? Haven't you done enough?" Jasmine exhaled, looking genuinely remorseful. "I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, and I don't blame you. But this isn't about me. It's about Kirk, and it's about the other woman." Rasheeda narrowed her eyes. "What are you talking about?" Jasmine glanced around nervously before leaning in. "The woman Kirk got pregnant. He's been lying to both of you." Rasheeda clenched her jaw. "Of course he has. He's a liar. That's not exactly breaking news." Jasmine shook her head. "No, you don't understand. She's not just some random girl. She's been in your life for years." Rasheeda's stomach dropped. A cold wave of nausea washed over her. "What do you mean?" Jasmine took a deep breath before speaking. "It's Kiana." Rasheeda's body stiffened. The name sent a jolt of shock through her system. Kiana was her assistant, the woman she had trusted, confided in, worked with for years. She had been in her home, around her family, by her side during some of the hardest moments in her marriage. And now Jasmine was telling her that Kiana was the one Kirk had been sleeping with, that she was the one carrying his child. "No," Rasheeda whispered, shaking her head. "That's not possible." Jasmine reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. "I didn't believe it either until I saw these." She slid the phone across the table. Rasheeda hesitated before picking it up, her hands trembling. But the moment she looked at the screen, she felt like the ground had been ripped out from under her. There, in clear high definition, were photos of Kirk and Kiana together, hugging, kissing, sneaking into hotels. There were text messages, voice recordings, even videos of them whispering about keeping the pregnancy a secret. Rasheeda's breath came in short gasps. Her hand shook so hard she almost dropped the phone. "This can't be real," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Jasmine sighed. "I wish it wasn't, but it is. And I thought you deserved to know before he tries to spin this into another one of his lies." Rasheeda felt her whole world collapsing around her. It was one thing to be betrayed by Kirk, but to be betrayed by Kiana, someone she had trusted, someone who had smiled in her face while sleeping with her husband. It was too much. Her vision blurred as rage took over. Without thinking, she stood up abruptly, nearly knocking over the table. Jasmine flinched at the sudden movement, but Rasheeda barely noticed. Her entire body was vibrating with anger. "I need to go," she muttered, her voice shaking. Jasmine reached for her arm. "Rasheeda, wait." But Rasheeda was already moving. She stormed out of the cafe, her blood boiling. She wasn't going to cry. She wasn't going to break down. She was going to end this once and for all. Rasheeda barely remembered the drive home. Her hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white, her mind racing with everything she had just learned. Kirk had betrayed her again, but this time it was worse. It wasn't some random woman. It wasn't a stranger she could ignore. It was Kiana, her assistant, someone she had trusted, someone she had let into her home. The ultimate betrayal. By the time she pulled into the driveway, her heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. She stormed into the house, slamming the door behind her. The sound echoed through the empty space, but Kirk was nowhere to be seen. She marched straight to the bedroom, yanking open drawers, searching for any sign that he had already left. But his clothes were still there. His shoes were still lined up neatly by the door. He was still living in her home like nothing had happened. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out with shaking hands. It was a text from Kirk. "We need to talk." Rasheeda let out a bitter laugh. Talk? He wanted to talk now? After everything? Before she could even think about responding, the front door creaked open. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hallway. She turned just as Kirk walked in, his expression unreadable. "Rasheeda?" He started, his voice calm. Too calm. She held up a hand, stopping him in his tracks. "Don't." Her voice was sharp, cutting through the tension like a blade. "Don't you dare act like you didn't know this was coming." Kirk exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "I'm not gonna lie to you." Rasheeda's eyes burned with fury. That would be a first. He ignored the jab and took a slow step forward. "I made mistakes." "Mistakes?" Rasheeda's voice cracked. "You slept with her, Kirk. Tiana, my assistant. You got her pregnant. You didn't just make a mistake. You made a whole new life behind my back." Kirk's face tightened. "I never wanted to hurt you." Rasheeda let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, so you just accidentally fell into her bed?" Kirk sighed, running a hand over his face. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" She snapped. "Tell me, Kirk. Make it make sense. Because right now, all I see is the same man who has lied to me over and over again, proving that he was never worth the fight in the first place." He didn't answer. His silence was louder than any excuse he could have come up with. And that silence told Rasheeda everything she needed to know. She shook her head, stepping back. "I'm done." Kirk's head snapped up. "Rasheeda?" I said, "I'm done." Her voice wavered, but her resolve was firm. "I have spent years standing by you. I have defended you when no one else would. I have forgiven things that no woman should ever have to forgive. But this," she swallowed hard, shaking her head. "This is where I draw the line." Kirk's jaw tightened. "So that's it?" Rasheeda lifted her chin. "That's it." For the first time, something flashed in Kirk's eyes. Regret? Anger? Fear? Whatever it was, it didn't matter anymore. Not to her. Not after everything he had put her through. A tense silence filled the space between them, thick with all the words that would never be said. Then, without another glance, Rasheeda turned on her heel and walked out of the room. She didn't need to hear his excuses. She didn't need another apology. She didn't need anything from him anymore. As she stepped into the hallway, she found Tiana standing there, her face pale, her hands clasped in front of her stomach as if she were trying to shield the evidence of her betrayal. Rasheeda's blood boiled. "You!" Tiana flinched but held her ground. "Rasheeda, I don't." Rasheeda's voice was ice. "Don't you dare try to explain yourself." Tiana's eyes filled with tears. "I never meant for this to happen." Rasheeda let out a humorless laugh. "Oh, you didn't mean to sleep with my husband? You didn't mean to lie to my face every single day? You didn't mean to ruin my family?" Tiana's lip trembled. You don't deserve to speak my name." Rasheeda cut her off, her voice trembling with rage. "You don't deserve to be in this house. And if you have any dignity left, you'll leave before I make you regret ever stepping into my life." Tiana opened her mouth, but no words came out. Instead, she nodded, turned, and walked out the front door. Rasheeda stood there for a long moment, staring at the door, her heart pounding. Then slowly she exhaled, letting go of the last bit of pain that had been weighing her down. She was free. This time, there was no looking back. As the drama between Rasheeda and Kirk Frost unfolds, it's clear that the future of their marriage is on shaky ground. With betrayals exposed, secrets revealed, and emotions running high, fans are left wondering, will this really be the end of Rasheeda and Kirk's marriage? Or could there still be hope for reconciliation? We want to hear from you. What do you think about Kirk's shocking affair and Rasheeda's decision to confront him? Do you believe their relationship can survive yet another scandal, or is this the final straw? Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on the latest celebrity drama. Stay tuned for more explosive news because this story is far from over.